Welcome everyone to the first ever episode of Unrooted Track and Field Edition. And my guest for the first show is head coach of the track and field program here at Menlo College, Dan Noel. Dan, thanks so much for joining me.
Brian, thank you for having me.
Anytime. Now let's start off by getting to know you a little bit better and some of your, I don't want to call them quirks, but they kind of are quirks about you personally. First of all, as you can notice, we are here making French toast. We're about to start making French toast, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And this is something that you began in the track and field setting here at the program at Menlo. How did this come about?
Well, we like to do team breakfasts, and we did pancakes last year, which were good. They were a hit. But the French toast this year, I think, really set a new standard. And I know you're working hard over at your sports information desk and maybe not getting time for the breakfast you deserve. So we thought we'd make you a little French toast to get started.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. This is going to be lovely, and we hope that this is the best cooking show you'll watch here today. So you graduated, Coach, from the University of California at San Diego. You had a degree in political science. So the natural question to ask is, if you weren't coaching here at Menlo, what would you be doing?
Good question. I think learning or studying political science taught me that I did not want to go into politics. So I ended up getting another degree. I got my master's degree in kinesiology. So before coming to coach at Menlo, I was actually involved in the rehab field. I was working with chronic pain patients who had neck and back problems.
Nice. So what about politics did you not enjoy specifically? We know we just came out of an election.
Right,
we're not going to get into that, but what exactly made you want to stray away from that?
I think I enjoyed the theory and learning about the ideas behind why decisions are made, but maybe the drama involved in the decision making was a bit too much for me.
Your hair has gotten a little bit longer, nappier, curlier, whatever you want to say here in recent years. If you go to the Menlo Athletics website and you see his mugshot, it's very clean cut, very trim, and then you're looking like you are right now. How long has this been going on, and how long will it be going on?
Well, first, Brian, I'd like to say that I'm making you French toast and you're throwing me under the bus, which it hurts a little bit, but you know, it's kind of like growing a mustache. One could say, where you know, one day you wake up, you don't shave, and then several months later, you don't really know what happened, but it's still there. So I can't say how long the hair will go. It's gone to epic lengths in the past. I don't anticipate that will be the case this time around, but we'll keep you updated.
So what brought up the mustache analogy? What made that come to mind?
I don't know. I just you know, the mustache has really been on my mind a lot lately. It has. I mean, it's kind of right there yeah, on my mind, and so I just thought it was an appropriate analogy.
Interesting. Going back to your past coaching experience, you used to be an assistant over at San Francisco State University, and in 2012 you structured the weight training program for Olympian Sonali Merrill in her preparation for the London Games. What was that experience like?
So Sonali was actually a teammate of mine at UC San Diego, and I got to work with her for a year while I stayed at UC San Diego coaching, and she decided to continue coaching or continue competing post-collegiate and had an opportunity to represent Sri Lanka, and she competed in the World Championships first for Sri Lanka, and then asked me to partner with her coach, Joy Tosta at the time, and set up her weight training program. So working with an athlete at that level, but also someone who I had a personal connection with, was really rewarding, and seeing the leap that it takes. I mean, we compete so hard at the college level and train so hard, but the leap to be successful at that level of competition was impressive to watch.
Have there been any other athletes that you've coached that have come close to that level of skill and talent?
I was able, again, at UCSD to coach some great athletes the year after I graduated, when I was first kind of learning about coaching. And some national champions at the Division II level, and some very successful athletes at San Francisco State as well. So the goal now is to get our Menlo athletes hopefully to that level. And
they've certainly gotten a great start here in this year number 2 of the reincarnation of the cross country and track and field programs at Menlo. Last year you headed the reincarnation of the programs. How hard was it to find recruits at such a high level of competition in such a short amount of time?
It was a challenge. I was hired in May of 2015 to try and prepare for the 2015-16 season. I think the thing that made it doable and the reason we got the level of recruits we did was the draw of being a part of starting a new program. I think that was my biggest sell recruiting, and I think that's what's been most rewarding for our athletes, is that they're not only a part of a team, but they're really a part of starting something new from scratch.
And what exactly brought you to Menlo in the first place, and what made it feel like your next home?
Well, I mentioned to you that I had been in the rehab world, so I'd been working back in neck pain rehab for about 3 years, and I'd still been involved in coaching, still been involved in meet management and announcing meets, but really found that I was missing the opportunity to coach, especially when I was in the booth announcing. I enjoyed that experience, but being separate from it was something that I grew to want to change. So when the opportunity at Menlo came up, and specifically the opportunity to start a program, was kind of a dream job for me. And you're here.
Oh, well, you're so kind.
I tried.
wasn't full-time when you got here, though.
Well, and you didn't have a mustache either.
That's true.
So,
this is true.
I mean, so much has improved.
Improved? Would you call it an improvement?
Well, there are some intense debates on campus right now, and I don't know if I'm really ready to put myself on one side of that debate yet.
Folks, I think the athletic department is split about whether the mustache is good or bad, and we'll just let that argument lie for another time. In 2016, Elijah Noel was one of 6 freshmen in the NAIA to qualify for nationals, and he finished 21st in the long jump. What was his progression like from the beginning of the season to the end of the season?
Elijah is someone who I think really saw the development that's possible when you transition to full-time training in track and field at the college level. I think he benefited greatly from our sports performance program, got much stronger. Sonny Diaz, our jumps coach, worked with him really well. So he, at the beginning of the season, was already blowing away his marks from high school as a freshman. Actually ended up dealing with some injuries mid-season that kept him out of competition. So I would say it's a combination of the college level training, but also he was really resilient in making it through this period of injuries, and then still having the mindset and the drive to compete hard at GSACs and then nationals.
And speaking of that GSAC championship, Menlo finished 2nd overall in the team category last year with 11 individual all-conference winners in the first year of competition. So how tough was the competition that they went up against, and how are they preparing for that?
Well, the GSAC is a very, like in all GSAC sports, for track and field, the GSAC is a very high level of competition, particularly on the cross-country side, but in track and field, there are a number of teams who are taking the same approach we are, which is they want to field full track and field teams. They want people who are competing in the sprints, the hurdles, the jumps, the throws, the distances. So particularly, Westmont, they won last year. They were a very strong team. They will be again. Vanguard, Biola, William Jessup, some of the stronger teams in the conference. So it was a challenge, and I think the difference for us was we went in with the mindset of we are going to compete as hard as we can across 2 days of competition, because as you know, it's prelims on day 1 and then finals on day 2. And I think it was that day 2, those finals, where we really stepped up and elevated our competition.
Now, a lot of the runners here on the Menlo College campus, they like to double dip. They'll do cross country in the fall, and then they'll participate in track and field in the spring. Is that a standard correlation? And if so, how difficult is it to do both?
Well, when you're competing at the college level, you're always going to want to train and compete in both track and cross country if you're a distance runner. So, and they pair well together. Your cross country season, you're building your base, you're getting your strength that's going to help you in your track and field season. And then your track and field season, typically you're working on more of the speed element that's the next year going to help you in cross country. It's challenging because you pretty much have a year-round training schedule. You're competing from September through November, and then you start competing again February through May. So it is challenging, but it's also something that if you're of that mindset, you're someone who loves to run, you take some of our top runners, Noble or Megan, and they're going to be running regardless, no matter what they're doing. So having them compete in track or cross country in what would otherwise be their off season makes the most sense.
Now, one fun fact that people might not know is that one of the early recruiting pushes that Dan Noel made on campus when he came in the fall was me. He tried to get me to run cross country and was relentlessly pursuing me every single day when I would go up into the office to work for Aaron Gillespie, who's now our assistant athletic director. And I did not cave into his requests.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've tried so hard to guide you and guide you along the path to righteousness and good, but we all have to be responsible for our own decisions, even our very poor decisions.
Ooh, you're gonna throw me under the bus like that? Come on now.
Well, you started with the hair, you used the word nappy, so I
hey,
gotta
nappy,
get a little,
that's not an insult.
A little back out there.
Nappy's not an insult.
Okay.
We'll transition into our final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. Dan, I'm going to ask you 3 random rapid-fire questions.
Excellent.
Answer in as much detail as you see necessary. Question number 1. What is your ideal 3-course meal, and does it involve French toast?
Wow. It does not involve French toast.
Okay.
So my ideal 3-course meal is going to involve, there's going to be guacamole in there. There's also going to be ice cream. I'm trying to think of the order here. I'm just trying to be honest with you. Yeah, I would say guacs and chips, or guac and chips as an appetizer. My entree would probably be my mom's homemade mac and cheese.
Oh.
And then it would be either a caramel mint chocolate chip milkshake or just straight mint chocolate chip ice cream.
So,
depending on the mood.
So how long has your mother been making the mac and cheese?
Eternity, as far as I know. Yeah, I mean, it was there when I was essentially born. I was welcomed to the world with it. And every time I go home, there seems to be some in the refrigerator.
Is there any type of hints you can give to the secret recipe?
No, I mean, I think that she stays away from the craft. I think that's the key. And it's from scratch. And there's probably a fair amount of butter in there and cheese, which helps. I think enough butter and cheese is going to make anything good.
The more you throw in there, you just can't go wrong with it.
Right.
Question number 2. Which track athlete would you be most excited to beat in a race, and why?
In the universe.
Here at Menlo.
Oh, here at Menlo.
Let's go here at Menlo.
Well, I have to say that Megan Thompson, who is our top returning female distance runner, is just a fierce competitor and incredibly fierce in terms of her training, and I would say really sets the bar in terms of what the training regimen should be like for a college athlete. And she would probably beat me at any distance over, I'd say 400 meters. I might have her at 400 meters. So anything beyond that, I think it'd really be a good race.
Question number 3. If you could have any type of hair, what would it be and why?
In terms of facial hair, like a mustache, for example, or other?
Here, up on the top of your head.
I would say I'm okay with what I got. It's a little nappy. It's curly. It's a bit moppish. Yeah, it goes through a very, very long awkward stage that some would argue never ends, but I'll take it.
Perfect. Dan, thank you so much for joining me here on the show.
My pleasure. I hope you enjoy your French toast.
I think I will, and you know what? I got to tell you, folks, this looks and smells pretty darn good, so I can't wait to dive into it. Just as a reminder, the track and field season actually begins this weekend. On February 25th, Menlo College will be participating in the De Anza Open at De Anza College, located in Cupertino, California, the all-day event on February 25th. Don't forget to stick around for next week's show, when head coach Dan Noel will choose the track athlete that he wants to throw under the bus for next week's show. I'm Brian Brownfield. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.